Hey guys, as some of you may know, a while ago I got the miniature painting bug. And as some of you have had similar afflictions before, know once you have that bug, you have a tendency to see things on Kickstarter, things on store fronts, things on company stores, and think I must have that in my collection because I'm sure I'll paint it at some point. Only to realize you'll probably never get around to it because you can't think of a reason why you'd want to paint that for that particular reason. If you want to see a perfect example, see over here, all this Wrath of Kings miniature stuff I got for like $4 or $5 when it was on sale for Miniature Market. I thought, oof, I'm going to paint all that. And it's still there, and I just can't make myself paint it without inspiration, which is where my next idea came in. I thought to inspire me, I've decided to make dioramas, but not just any dioramas. I am going to make dioramas for each one of my friends and family, inspired by how I know them, or maybe from games I've played with them, or who knows what. So that's the current project. And my first diorama is going to be for a friend of mine I know as Laura, using some of the things I know about her interests and stuff, to form an idea, as well as some stuff that I like, which you're going to see from the video coming up. Before I start that particular part, though, I want you guys to know if you like what I'm doing here, if you want more miniature videos like this, please let me know in the comments. And also, of course, like, subscribe, all this stuff, so the YouTube algorithm knows I exist. Blah blah. You've heard all this stuff before, but Patreon, Ko-fi, the whole shebang. Enjoy the video. Thank you. First off, were the miniatures, and for this I decided to go with the Siblings of Conflict 3 Mechanic Cute Kickstarter, where I grabbed quite a few pieces, with a lot of them looking pretty cool. I mean, there was one I couldn't get at the time. What was it called? The tank thing, the Witchblade, Murder Blade, Blade. It's on the. It's good. I'll get the picture later and post it. But it looked pretty awesome. I couldn't get it at the time because I was pretty broke. Technically, I was so broke I shouldn't have gotten the rest of these models. But I mean, look at them. So I decided to go with three specifically: the Noise Widow, the Flametta, as well as the Feline Empress. And with those three combined, of course, looking at them, you got the idea of a band on a stage. And that's where the inspiration sort of came in, just looking at these three. So we have the Feline Empress as the lead singer, Flametta on guitar, and Noise Wither, I guess, with holding the mic for the Empress. She just looks cool, okay? We're going to go with that. So one of the first things I started with was the hair. Now, my friend Laura likes to dye her hair on occasion, and one of the colors that she usually goes for is purple. So it made sense for these Sisters of Battles to have purple hair. I decided to go with a base of Imperial Purple from Reaper and another Reaper color on top of that, the main color being Eldritch Purple, to give it that weird sci-fi hair look. And it honestly looked kind of, well, eldritchy. Now, originally for the skin, I was just going to go with a tan shadow and tan skin, because it was, the easiest skin I could find. I'm not an expert painter or anything, so I just wanted to go with the basics. But I found an awesome video by Terry Torco about using some of the P3 paints, specifically the Idrian Flesh, for ethnic skin tones. I tried it out, and actually, I don't have the video of me switching over to Idrian, so you're just going to have to see my failure with the tan skin, but this, the Idrian Flesh, really worked out. And if you want a guide on how to really do really good ethnic skin tones, give that a go. I'm still learning myself, so hopefully I can be at least somewhat good in the future like that. Now, Laura's always been a big fan of Hello Kitty, especially growing up, so it seemed natural to have her particular army have those colors as part of their armor coloring. So, of course, that meant white and red. Now, originally I had planned to use Turbo Dork Pearly Gates, but when I tried it on one or two of the models, it didn't really look good to me. I could have kept it, but honestly, in the end, it just went to be basically washed away in 99% alcohol. And I decided to go with a different theming. So instead, I decided to go for an undercoating of wolf gray to make the white on top pop, and that particular white would be ivory bone, which just seemed like the perfect off-white color because, they're bathed in the bones of their enemies, or at least that's how I imagine them to be. As for the red, although the Turbo Dork Pearly White or Pearly Gates White didn't really work, the red rum I really liked as a red, and I used that for basically the highlights of that particular arm, the edges and stuff like that, and it really, really seemed to work. As for the cloaks, I decided to go with a dark Prussian blue, which just seemed to mesh well with the armor of red and white and the hair of purple. And to finish things off, anything that looks like the pointy end that's going to stab into people, like the sword or the claws, I put in some oily steel. Anything that looks expensive, I put in Retribution Gold. As for the eyes, I made them some nice blue violets to give them the characters a nice, big, beautiful anime eyes. And then adding some texture to the skin with some Reichland flesh shade. And, as a newbie miniature painter, I'm kind of satisfied, but there was something missing. This was a band, and a band needed a stage. First, of course, were the speakers, because if you're going to be hunting down heretics, you want to make sure you're loud as possible for your musical murder. And using some black paint, some glossy black paint for the edges, and some graphite paint from Dark Star on the part where loud music comes out, which I forgot the name of, I've got some kick-ass speakers to blast noise across the battlefield. Now for the stage itself, I knew it couldn't be static. It had to move around the battlefield because, the enemy's not going to come to you unless it's, corn or something. So basically I decided to make it a walker, to literally walk around the battlefield. Luckily I had an allied walker from Dust Tactics hanging around, and I was able to use its legs as the bottom portion. After coating the legs in lead belcher and giving it some nice touches with some Retributor gold, I decided instead of immediately putting the stage on top, I decided to put even more speakers on top of it. Why? I ask you, why not? As for the stage itself, where the band will be playing, it was formerly a toy shield that I got for $2 from a flea market, but it has been transformed. The outer edges and the center painted with lead belcher, and the wooden-ish looking parts painted first with a base of shield brown, and then painted again with its true color, driftwood brown. And then giving it a nice coat of seraphim sepia shade to give some nice, lived in or stomped on or danced on or sang on texture. So the stage was done, but something felt missing. It needed an extra something I couldn't at first identify. And I thought, oh right, Warhammer 40k, I needed some implements of violence. First, of course, was the flame, because you can't say Sisters of Battles without including and many people burned alive. For the flame itself, I got some great 3D printed fire from Deadly Print Studios. You should definitely go there for your blaster or firepower needs. And then for what shoots out that flame, I went back to that Dust Tactics tank and got myself what was originally just something used to shoot out shells and transformed it, painting the guns the white and the red, and using several techniques I learned from all over the internet, trying to search for the perfect way to paint fire. I put a pretty nice looking, I think, effect of fire coming out into the sky, and I like to imagine that on that turret it goes up and down wherever the heretic may be to burn him alive. As for the next implement of violence, I luckily had the Robotech RPG Tactics Artillery Battle Pods box, which I got for honestly $4 or $5 when it was on sale at Miniature Market, and I thought I will probably use it for bits at some point, and I was right, because those missiles on those bad boys I could definitely use. So looking upon them, I thought these have to be placed upon my stage. So painted them nice and ivory for the most part, with the edges with that red from red. And as for the actual missiles themselves, of course, coated in nice and holy Retributor gold. But I felt the missile pods were missing something. They needed something to be placed on. I thought maybe just placing them on the speakers themselves at first, but that didn't feel right. And then looking around, I knew what it needed to be. So I went to a store I knew in Brooklyn that sells little knickknacks, and in this particular store they had, shell casings, large and small. And from these I combined them into the platforms upon which murder shall be committed, and placed the missiles upon those carriers of death. Even with the fire and the missiles, it feels like I was missing something though. But was it more weaponry? I mean, that's usually always the answer, but no, it didn't feel right. And then I remembered, of course, what sort of platform of death would it be without showcasing the skulls of your enemies? Because I knew I was planning to do dioramas for a while, I had gone to flea markets and such, looking for random bits and bobs that I thought might be interesting for future projects. And in one of those trips, I got, basically a bunch of tiny metal skulls. And this seemed like the perfect opportunity to use them. First a nice white primer, and then mixing it with a combination of non-oil and Agras Erkshade, a recipe I got from Dana Howell a while back. And all of this combined to form my first diorama. But looking at it, with everything added, it's not yet complete. It's not complete because, technically, this is an army. These are Sisters of Battle on the battlefield. And Sisters of Battle need an order, a group they need to be a part of. And I went to Lorda to see if she had any ideas of what I could possibly call this order, this sisterhood. And she suggested I think of something. So I thought long and hard. What name of an order could fit all of this glory? I mean, the flames, the missiles, the skulls, the music on the stage. And then I remembered, Laura is a Prince fan. So I would like to present to you all the Order of the Purple Rain from the world of Prince. I hope you enjoyed the video. And if you want to see more of them, let me know in the comments.